I love animation just as much as the next guy, and indie animation really is hitting off over these past few years in terms of how effective they are in becoming the grand scheme of things. Hazbin Hotel, Hell of a Boss, and Murder Drones are now on Amazon Prime to be viewed with all creative control still in their hands. So after getting finished watching Mark getting his ass slammed in by the monster of the week, you can get straight to Angel Dust having themselves be slammed in sexual assault style. It's golden. And not to mention merch of these shows hitting shops like Glitch Productions having their own shows merch being sold in Hot Topic. Next thing you know, Hell of a Bot's merch will be sold at Spencer's next to the toy section. Sorry, it's like pure instinct that my body actually hates these series. Regardless, however, if you hate or like these shows, you gotta give them credit for being the first of their genres to really give creators of all calibers a sign that they can make high quality and mostly thought-provoking stories when you give them a chance. But those cartoons we ain't talking about. Not even the other prestige stuff like Monkey Wrench or fucking catching up. Nah, we're talking about a pilot that was created by a pretty well-known figure that just sorta got pushed off of the wayside. I'm not even sure if it was because other indie stuff was happening at that time, but it was just as unrecognized, standing in over 600,000 views as a recording, and that would be HappyLand Incorporated. Yeah, this is a real mess of a pilot. The pilot, from what I can remember, is about James being a new employee of HappyLand, trying to survive against the chaotic forces of the theme park, and stuff happens. Okay, let's cut to the shit, alright? That's all I really got from this whole thing, as a pilot in itself doesn't really give you a lot to work with, other than it's a really chaotic theme park where stuff happens and characters do things. A lot of things feel missing from it. That makes the whole thing feel rather pointless because of it, since it has no context or setup to go along with it. I don't want to bore you, so here's a list of things I wrote up about the things that I thought were missing. This could be because of the pilot being 10 minutes! 10 minutes! Not even with the non-animated bits, that's 9 minutes! 9 full minutes of just trying to tell a cohesive story, but just can't because of the length of the whole thing to begin with. Indie plots like Digital Circus and even Hell of a Boss span about 25 to 30. This is because they need that time and leeway in order to establish the universe, the characters, and the rules that they have their stories. They can't work with it if it was condensed to 10 minutes because they aren't shows that are able to have that time to just rush it out on that caliber without it coming off as janky and messy. HappyLand. Fucking SML is about 11 minutes long. That's the mirror it reminds me of. But at least SML made me feel something throughout this whole experience. I'm getting way off track here, but HappyLand seriously doesn't give me anything to work off of, aside from some occasional moments that made me smile at some point.
Wait, what Happy Corp character are you? Character? You feeling confident, buddy? Not really. That's a shame.
Which also leads to the writing of the whole thing, which is also as clunky and as messy as the pilot in itself. I have no clue if the writing is semi-improvised or what, but I feel like it does give the show a way more lazier, messier feel towards it, since it isn't executed well. If we compare it to something like Rick and Morty or Bob's Burgers, where the scripts have a feeling of being semi-improv themselves, the reason why these two work is because of how it sounds more human with its dialogues, and with it makes their scenes feel more cleaner and solid. Something like the argument from the Vat of Acid episode is a really good example of this.
Piece of shit! Just say you can't do it! I won't! You won't say you can't! Fuck you, Morty! Fuck you! Fuck you! Son of a bitch! So are you gonna— Yes, I'm gonna fucking do it!
But here it feels like they're trying way too hard to be funny or wacky because of how they were framed, making the dialogue seem a bit desperate with their executions. I'm guessing it's because Egoraptors animations from back then had the same exact dialogue as well, like in the Awesome series, but those work because they were short animations. not a pilot. The one benefit I can safely say works here is honestly the animation that they showed here, which is really funny because Aaron didn't even animate it themselves and had Small Boo make it for them. They're the same people behind shockingly Batman and Pyro-Man, but more so how I knew them from the game Later Alligator. I myself never played it, but the animation is really great in it, and honestly I would give it a recommendation just for it alone, as it seems like it's a really solid title in itself. But yeah, Happy Land just exists with the other stuff the Egoraptor hasn't even created. Maybe that's why it got sidelined as Starbone's taking over with all the animations to go with it. For fuck's sake, just make an alternate account. It wouldn't kill you. Overall, Happy Land is as messy as hell as a pilot, and it felt like it could have been a short animation student film rather than a literal pitch to make a story off of, which will go back in the bin of all of his other scrapped games and animations. 5 out of 10. Mediocre at worst.